3, 2, and we're live with Be Green with Amy.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Be Green with Amy. I'm Amy. After adopting a whole food plant-based lifestyle, my hubby Rick and I lost over 130 pounds. Now I coach others on their plant-based journey. Just Task Voice. Let's welcome our guest.
Do you struggle with tight or achy shoulders? Angela is here to guide us through gentle movements to improve shoulder mobility, increase blood flow, and prevent injury. Please click like to help Be Green with Amy. Welcome, physical fitness and yoga instructor, Angela Fischetti of Boomer and Beyond Wellness.
It's a good music. I like that one.
I was dancing away. Okay, I'm like,
Well, greetings, Green Warriors, and welcome back, Angela.
I'm so happy to be here, Amy. You know, I feel like it's almost like my own tune. Like, you know, when the song goes on, I'm like, yeah.
Well, I hope it gets everybody all in the mood and warmed up and ready for movement, because that's when you're here. That's what we're all always trying to get ready for.
I'm happy to be associated with the word movement.
Well, you know, today we're talking about shoulders, and I wanted to ask the Green Warriors, tell us in the chat, have you ever experienced shoulder pain or stiffness or struggle with tight or achy shoulders, or maybe you feel like you're losing that range of motion? Tell us in the chat if that's something that you have been experiencing, because Angela is going to be helping us with that today. And I'm so looking forward to this. And I think it's something that a lot of people need, or maybe they don't realize that they need.
Yeah, that's an interesting point too. Until they start feeling it in those activities of daily living.
Yeah. And we've talked about that before too, when you've been on the show in the past about those activities of daily living. And we really don't want to lose our range of motion and our strength and our flexibility and our sense of balance and all these things that really can affect our activities of daily living. And
right.
Today we're going to be talking about the shoulder, and I think it affects a lot of people. So that's a really great thing that I think that you had actually talked about, that you did something with that. And I said, oh, that sounds like a great idea. So
you know why, Amy? You know why? Because now, what is this, March? This was about when it happened a year ago at the gym. I was on the shoulder press. It's also known as the military press, right? I was on the machine for it.
Okay.
It broke on me. And it broke on my right shoulder. It's actually, technically, I'm showing you my left, but
yeah, but
the audience will see it as right. It blew that shoulder out. And I have to tell you that I am still not 100%. I'm going to put it a solid 90 though. Okay. But these movements and moving to kettlebells were two of the biggest things that I did to recuperate my own shoulder. I didn't go for physical therapy. I did it myself.
Yeah.
But listen, I've learned a lot from physical therapists. So
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be all that and say, oh, it's all me. No, it's not. And so it's what I've learned over the years, and I just kind of blended it in. But for myself, it was a self-discovery about, wow, kettlebells actually allow for like a certain type of movement, a certain type of rotation within that joint that freed me up to be able to progress in my strength training. So I'm about 2 pounds shy of my weight last year for my military press with my dumbbells. I'm just 2 pounds shy. Not bad. It was really blown out, Amy. So this is why, and when you told me and shared your issues, I was like, oh, we need to do this, you know?
Yeah, I should share with the Green Warriors that recently, but I didn't have like a sudden injury that happened, but I am very physically active. I exercise. I try to do it every single day. Maybe once a month I might have to take off, but I'll still do something active. But I do exercises every day. And suddenly I couldn't lift my hand. And above, like this was about as high as it would go, and it was so painful, and I couldn't figure out what to do, and I consulted with Angela, and I talked with some other physical therapists that well, he's retired, but he still keeps very much active and learns about this, and I consulted with some other people too, and came up with some things to help me. But I'm really hoping to get more information with what you're going to share with us today. And I asked the Green Warriors, and if you're still coming in now, if you want to, and you didn't hear me ask this, I wanted to know if any of you are experiencing any shoulder issues or a change in the range of your motion. And greetings, Anne. She said, yes, especially when I work 10 hours a day.
Oh, gosh.
And that's something, right?
All this, all here. But what's going to happen with that stuff, it travels all the way back here, up into the neck, the posterior deltoid, across between the shoulder blades, right? All that area, you wind up getting even like pinched nerves. You get the tingling numbness traveling down the arm. Then, of course, you start getting into the wrist stuff with all of that and carpal tunnel. I mean, the computer stuff out here is just a nightmare for a lot of the work. And I find that my shoulder here will go numb sometimes. Oh, get up. It's why that I might be so absorbed in what I'm typing. Get up, walk around, stop, open up, and do some of this I'm about to teach you, Anne.
Oh, that's going to be great, because some people just don't have a choice. They are working and they have to be in that position, and we're not meant to be in that position for long periods of time. So it's going to be so helpful to so many people. So I think I would like to just start off with our true or false game, because to get things going. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's time for True or False on Be Green with Amy Live. Answer true or false to Amy's questions in the comments below, and Amy will ask our guest for the expert answer.
Okay, so we are talking about body parts here, and we're going to learn a little bit. And Angela gave me these questions to give to you. So let's see. True or false, Green Warriors? The first question is, another name for shoulder girdle is pectoral girdle. Now, I when I see pectoral girdle, I think of the pecs. So what do you think, Green Warriors? And then Angela, tell us what the answer is.
It's true. And the reason is because the pectoral muscle, deltoid muscle, they have the same exact attachments, but how do I put this? In reverse. Like something that's an insertion on a pec is an origin on the delt. So it goes like that, but they share the exact same attachments, which is why it's called pec girdle or shoulder girdle.
Interesting. Yeah. And so many things are attached to so many other things, and we don't.
It's amazing.
They kind of all work in symphony together when you're working correctly. Okay, let's go with the next question, and that is true or false. There are 5 muscles that make up the rotator cuff muscles. Wow. I wonder. Okay, Green Warriors, take a guess at that one. And Angela, what's the answer?
False. So they are known as a group. They're known as the sits muscles. So SITS, and that is supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, and the subscapularis. Their main function is to stabilize the glenohumeral joint, your shoulder joint, not to be confused with the scapulothoracic joint, separate issues.
Wow. I was so impressed, because so far Anne is getting them all right, but the fact that Anne got this one right, I'm wondering if she's had some experience.
Rock on, Anne. I love it.
That we don't know about. And now, when before we go on to the next and final question, I'm not seeing you, as like, it seems like you're kind of breaking up with your visual. And I wanted to ask the Green Warriors if you could type in the comments if you're experiencing the same thing. Can you see and hear Angela? Okay, because if not, then we will try to fix that. Okay, so Anne said, I thought it was a trick question, so I put false.
Does
She's
Anne
like, good,
see me
good
okay?
testing strategies. And Annette said it's okay for me, so they can see you fine, and that's all I'm worried about.
Okay,
Okay.
great. Thanks.
All
Oh,
right.
hi, Annette. Well, I love Annette. She's
Oh,
such a doll. She's so supportive of my work. She's just a wonderful human being. And the stuff that she does in her life, she's really a lovely human being.
oh. Well, that's nice. And I'm glad that you're attracting lovely human beings here, and I expect nothing less.
Aw.
Okay, let's go with our last question. True or false? Uh-oh. The glenohumeral joint of the shoulder is the least mobile joint of the body, which is why it injures so easily. I'm interested to know the answer to this question. Okay, go ahead and let us know. Okay, Angela, what's the answer?
No, it's false.
Okay.
Because I'm realizing I'm nodding my head, but you know what I'm nodding my head yes to? Yes, it does injure easily. It injures really easily, and especially on females. And in particular, the muscle called the supraspinatus. It's also known as the suitcase muscle. And I years ago, when I was painting my apartment, I blew out that muscle.
Oh,
I absolutely blew it out. And that's a tough one to recuperate. However, yes, this is indeed false. It is the most mobile joint in the body. The second one would be the acetobulofemoral joint of the hip, because those two joints can basically do the same movements. But it is definitely false. This is the most mobile. That's why when we lose that mobility, we are limited and it becomes very painful. And there are certain bony, what they're called, or bony prominences, bony projections, all right, on our spine. So also along, like, let's say leading into the clavicle, which is part of our spine, right? And we have these bony projections that when we lift the shoulder, your supraspinatus muscle can ram into the chromium process. So what happens is that it gets pinched. So every time you paint, right? And I was doing big, broad strokes with the painting of my walls and stuff. I'm hitting that bony prominence, the supraspinatus, into that bony projection. And that's how that supraspinatus gets inflamed. And that's why the rotator cuff is really dicey, especially for females. And if you sleep like this, you're going to have an issue with rotator cuff because that supraspinatus is banging into the bony prominence.
Oh.
It's called
Wow.
a process. It's called
That could have been a true or false question. If you sleep like this.
Yeah, that's true. And actually, it's also one of the biggest reasons in the United States for surgeries for shoulder replacement on females. This, not kidding. Right. So you better, well, now I think we just learned what the issue is, Amy. Now we're going to have to do, watch me. This, take the pillow between, you take your pillow and you have your hand under the pillow, your ear on the pillow. So this is the pillow in between. That's what you do. Stop this. Amy, it's why you have that problem. You wondered why that it just came on. No, shoulder stuff never just comes on unless something like with me, with the accident. This is a long time coming with you, because if that's how you're sleeping, that's the issue.
Oh my goodness.
But see, it's very fixable.
It's an easy fix. Just, you can still have that position. Just keep that pillow in between so that the gap is,
not that, because this is where you're hitting. Supraspinatus is banging into the chromium process. That's a problem. So fix it. You can fix it. And with the work that you've been doing on it,
yeah,
find that it will go away then. Because you're going to readjust that position.
Wow.
Wow. We had a like a bright light moment here today.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if anybody else, is maybe sleeps that way too. And even if you don't have shoulder problems, you probably should change that if that's what you're doing.
Absolutely. And also, a thing that people will do is when they're sitting, right? When they're sitting in a chair, but especially a folded chair, like a folding chair, right? People just collapse into it. So what happens is the chair is holding them up instead of you holding yourself up. And when you do this, much like what Anne brought up about with the computer, it's all out in front. A lot of people are not staying upright. They're doing this at the computer. There are several things going on here. So what you're doing is, well, you're collapsing here. You're altering your spine, right? You're going into I just lost it. The postural deviation. I just lost it. But hyperkyphosis, I got it back. Hyperkyphosis. But you're also minimizing your breathing. It's absolutely limited. And you're also distorting all of the breathing accessory muscles. Breathing accessory muscles are between the ribs. They're under your clavicle, your collarbone. They're at the lower back. The list goes on. And that's why sometimes when you do something, like let's say you're stretching an area of the body, if I do this thing that I love to do, the back spine extension, when I come out of it, there's a big inhale that takes place because those quadratus lumborum muscles are breathing accessory muscles. We're closing everything down posturally when we sit incorrectly. I just want people to hold themselves up in a chair, not to let the chair support them. And if you need to, you can do something, Amy, like my yoga bolster. You could put it on a chair behind you. I like it. I like the yoga bolster because it's long, right? You can go wide with it, but the best thing would be for you to do, if you really have postural issues, sit up, use something that's long to help you stay upright, to teach you the spinal alignment sitting in a chair.
Oh, wow. Do you think that you could demonstrate the yoga bolster to what you
I don't have a chair. I have I have the workout bench, but it's the same thing. Just pretend that bolster is the bench, okay? The backing of the bench. So the reason why it will work is because you're upright. You don't have a chance to do this stuff, right? Otherwise, you're going to fold forward. You're not going to go backwards. So if you have a chair, a folding chair in particular, you put this bolster up against the backing of the chair and you'll be fully upright, just like what my bench looks like here. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Thank you for explaining that.
Oh,
These
sure,
are the
no
simple
problem.
things that people can do, and it could just make a world of difference.
Absolutely. These are tips that, for me, I'm like, this is life-saving stuff, only because it's stuff I've learned over the many decades of doing this.
Right. And even if we're not concerned about shoulder issues, which I think everybody should be, we are concerned probably about the posture, right? We don't, as we age, we don't want to be getting hunched over. We want to have that good posture. So these will be helpful with that too.
Absolutely. I just worked with clients over the weekend, and one of them is just coming out of pneumonia, and she's in her 80s. You can't afford this. So you got to get up, and we got to stretch out all these different muscles that will help your breathing accessory muscles. And the biggest thing for seniors, sit up in those chairs, because if you're in that thing all day long watching television, this and that, and I don't care if you're relaxing, that's okay, I get it. But you have to stay upright, because it is a great predictor of mortality when we sit like this in a chair. It's a predictor of mortality. So you've got to breathe. The whole idea is breathe, expand the lungs, and bring the nutrients to the body, right? This is what happens when we breathe. So there's a lot happening. People don't realize there are many greater things in life that can happen because of that you can benefit from because you're upright.
Well, very good. Okay, well, I guess we're getting a lot of good information. I mean, you haven't even started the demonstrations. I want to do some shout outs because Vegan Knowledge,
She stood up.
my
Yay!
favorite coach, my friend Angela.
I love her. This one is partially for her, by the way. This one was for the both of you, but both Amy and JJ. Yeah.
Oh, JJ is in the shoulder club.
JJ is in the club being champ a lot of hours for work.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like all of this happens, right? So she was really, really interested in this one.
Okay, well, very good. I'm glad that you're here, JJ. All right, well, I guess we should get started now that school is out and we finished our quiz.
And everybody got an A. I don't care how you answered.
All right, well, then let's get started.
You got it, Amy. Okay, so welcome everybody here to Be Green with Amy. I'm happy to return. I don't know, Amy, I think this is appearance 23, and it's such an honor to do so. And yeah, we were talking about shoulder pain and maybe put something together for the Green Warriors. So I just want to say right off from the top that this is a very simple routine. It's basic. I have a lot of notes, so you'll see me checking them, but the movements are really doable for anybody. This is not strength training. One thing I do have to say right at the beginning as well is when you strength train your deltoid muscles at the shoulders, they are not meant to take the highest capacity possible. This is something out there in the fitness field that is so overwhelmingly over-taught in the incorrect direction. Go heavy on those shoulder presses. Yeah, you can challenge yourself, but I would avoid the heaviest, because they are not meant for that. Because of the rotator cuff muscles we just mentioned, they lie deep to the deltoids. They're there to stabilize. And that means the delt needs the stabilization. The body doesn't ever do anything incorrectly. So please, if you're strength training, go after the back, go after the chest. Your front delts will get a lot of work working on chest presses, etc. Your posterior deltoids, the back of the shoulders will get a lot of work on all kinds of rows, whether it's a high row, one arm row, whatever it is. But please avoid doing the maximum of weight on the shoulders. So I'm going to get off my soapbox now, and we're going to move directly into the program here. So the accessories I will be using today are really quite simple. I'll be using a sticky yoga mat. I'll also be using a yoga block, maybe, and it's just basically to point out something if you need it. Also, I will be using a yoga strap. Now, my strap is 10 feet long. I do advise people when you purchase a yoga strap, buy one that's at least 8 feet long, if not longer. And then finally, I'll be using what I'm going to call a Pilates ring. Now, this leads me right into the medical disclaimers and precautionary measures. One blanket statement across the board. If you have any chronic health concern whatsoever, I'm going to invite you to observe the work before you participate, but look for what you can do. But if you're not sure, then I would invite the medical healthcare practitioner who knows your body best to preview the video as well to help you make an informed decision. Now, specific to this session, if you have a latex allergy, please be careful because both the mat and if you do have a workout bench or are considering purchasing one, I'm not 100% sure, but I think some ingredients in here for the upholstery latex is here. So for everything you folks want to look for non-latex or latex free. Now, if you are medicated or not for hypertension, have vertigo or GERD, folks, please make sure that you do not do this position of the cervical spine of your neck. It's flexion, right? Just dropping the head down. Please keep your head neutral. Now, another blanket statement. Folks, I do find that a lot of people, because when I do live Zooms where I could see the gallery, that when they work out to a YouTube video, I'm seeing a lot of this. And they're in this forward flexion of the cervical spine of the neck. It's because the device is on the floor. So everybody, please, and if you have an arthritic neck, please don't do that. Let's get your devices up to eye level, because you know why? I hear the complaints later that my neck bothers me. The exercise did it. And it's like, no, no, it did not. It's the position of your device. So please lift it up. Now, moving on. If you have carpal tunnel syndrome, you're going to need to avoid this wrist position. It doesn't matter the craziness I'm doing here with my arms. I never changed from wrist extension. So you need to avoid it. Keep a straight wrist, please. If you have any back spine flexion issues, that's with bending down to pick up something. Now, this can include, but not exclusive to, osteoporosis of the spine, as well as the postural deviation we mentioned before, hyperkyphosis, where you have the hunched appearance. Folks, you need to keep yourselves upright. Now, there's going to be a movement that I do. I will point it out to you what you can do instead of bending down into that spine flexion. Also, if you have had a TIA, a transient ischemic attack, or a stroke, I will be doing a counter movement here to spine flexion. The counter position is back spine extension. You can do it. However, the movement you need to avoid is hyperextension of the cervical spine of the neck. So you also keep that chin head neutral, and I will point it out to you when we're doing the work. Now, I'm just checking my notes. Yes, I have something else to call to your attention. And I'm going to re-invite those of you medicated or not for hypertension, have vertigo, hypertension, and have a rotator cuff muscle issue deep to the shoulders, or pinched nerve at the neck. You folks may have been told not to lift the arms up and overhead. Don't do it. Okay, so just don't do it then in that case. And do be mindful that I'm saying all of these different, I'm basically talking about a whole bunch of different chronic health issues. You will not get these issues if you do the work, folks, if you don't have these issues or have had them in the past. It's simply suggestions for those who have had them or have these issues. So I don't want you to be afraid that you're going to bring something on. So let's just talk for a moment about the difference between the word flexibility and mobility. Flexibility is regarding muscle, the stretching, the lengthening of your muscle. Mobility has to do with the range of motion of your joint. So that's why we wanted to focus today on the mobility of the glenohumeral joint of the shoulder. And this is a ball and socket joint like this, okay? And what we have here that can happen over time is that the synovial fluid within that ball and socket joint can get super dried up. It happens a lot, Amy, in bursitis of the shoulder, all right? So what does drinking water, eating plant food high in water content, and movement do? It helps kind of lubricate your joints, and that's precisely what the body loves. Now, I just want to see something else here. I don't want to miss anything. Yes, okay. Now, the glenohumeral joint has 7 specific movements that I want to point out to you. This is why it's the most mobile joint in the body. So we have flexion, we have extension. We don't have extension like this, okay? Please don't always take it to the max. I'm just going back to what I can handle without a forward head posture, without a tech neck taking over. It also has abduction, abduction, going away from the midline of the body. It has adduction, ADD, going toward the midline of the body. It has medial, also known as internal rotation. It has lateral, also known as external rotation. And I want to make sure, yes, here we go. Now we have an horizontal abduction going away from the midline, horizontal adduction going toward the midline. And then we have circumduction, which is basically when you go swimming. So it does all these beautiful joints. You see already that one of the activities of daily living, which is a sport, is swimming, how you can really hinder that sport can be hindered, I should say, by a limited range of motion within that glenohumeral joint. I'm just checking out something else for you. Now, we're going to talk for a moment about other activities of daily living that could be decreased because of the issues to the limited range of motion in that glenohumeral joint. Reaching up, putting something away in your high kitchen cabinet and taking it back down, combing your hair, putting on a sweater over your head. This is serious stuff, folks. If, let's say, aging process, living on your own. And you know what happens, folks, is that people start purchasing items like reachers, grabbers. And when I mean, it's okay, of course, if you need to use those things, but I wouldn't rush right away to use those things to see if without pain you can do the movement. Because if you don't do the movement and rely upon a prosthetic, if you don't have pain, do the movement, because you are going to wind up limited when you have an item do it for you. If you're in pain, avoid the pain and purchase the item that helps you be able to do the movement. I hope that makes sense to everybody, Amy. But it's just very, very important for people to realize in today's day and age, the more and more we have things do things for us, to do movements for us, the worse it can be to that aging process. So, and one final thing.
Very, all such great information that.
Good. I'm glad.
I wanted to say that oftentimes when I interview doctors, registered dietitians, they'll say, I'm going to tell you things that most doctors don't even know. Mm-hmm. And I feel that in this realm, these things that you're discussing with us, we typically, we won't hear this from the professionals that we encounter. And I really
understand
appreciate that.
Thank you. I really do appreciate you saying that to me as well. But I can't not say this, because these are my observations. I think I'm in year 37 or 38 of doing this work. And I would feel like I'm withholding something from people, but it's very important for people to just try something that could be very challenging. But if there's pain, it's okay to stop and use that grabber. I'm not about putting somebody in pain to try to do something at all. Amy, there are certain expressions and sayings in life regarding where we mention areas of the body like a real pain in the neck, or my aching back and all that. Well, think about this one. When we are carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders, this happens. People reflect what's going on in their lives. And that's why this too is very important, to offset the thinking process that's going on there, lending itself to just shrinking down. Let's open up, broaden, widen, expansive. Yeah. So let's now we're going to move into the actual physical work. So as always, I always like to begin here with just explaining how to stand when you're working out or doing some basic standing work, stretches, movements, etc. So I'm standing in an athletic ready stance. And this means placing the hands to the high hip bones, the iliac crest, but I'm bringing the hands to the inside. Then I line up to my knees, down to my ankles. The toes are in the same line as each other. Now I'm going to turn to the side here. A lot of times in standing work, I see a lot of times females do this. They start standing like this. And what happens is they're tipping their pelvis forward. They're coming into what's called an anterior pelvic tilt. No, what we want is the opposite. We want a subtle posterior pelvic tilt. It's also known as a pelvic tuck. So now we're going to begin the work with what I call an Amy. This is a must for you before you do any type of upper body workout. This is a passive pendulum. So now I'm going to put my hand down. Now, hello, this is a wrist extension. So my hand is here, contraindicated for carpal tunnel. So for you folks, what you're going to do, I'm going to come up close here. You're going to close the fingers down just so that your finger pads are touching your palm. You don't turn your nails in. You don't want to cut yourself, okay? Then you place the flat part of your fingers here on the bench or your chair, and now you have a straight wrist. But this position is contraindicated for back spine flexion issues, right? So you folks, you do exactly what I do, but upright. And if you have a little chair, just put your hand on the top of that chair and stay upright. So this is what it's going to look like. And this is a passive movement. That means you're not flinging your arm muscularly. It's got nothing to do with that. So I'm going to let it dangle. And all I'm going to do is with my body, I'm going to rock forward and back. And the arm is going to swing like a pendulum. And the count is going to be 1, 1, 2, 2. And I want you to take it from 10 to 15 repetitions of each. I'm not collapsing my chest toward the floor, am I? The belly button is up and in. And now I'm going to swing the arm, but notice I'm coming from my hip to do it. My inside hip joint is guiding the movement to make it sort of like a circular type of movement in one direction. And I did strength train those deltoid muscles today. I did it on purpose because I want to enjoy this. And then I'm going to reverse it. So I'm going to swing in the opposite direction. And again, a good 10 to 15 circles in both directions. And don't be stingy with the size of that movement, folks. And now I'm going to take it the other side, same thing here, just this passive pendulum, forward and back. Just make sure the breath is in and out through the nose, and let's not drop the head down, right? Medicated or not, hypertension, vertigo, GERD, chin up. I say chin up for everybody, folks. And then I'm going to make a circle coming from my inside hip joint. And arm and shoulder, they're just following with it. That's why it's passive. It's just dangling. And then I'm going to reverse that hip joint. The arm's going along for the ride. Just stay with the breath. And I'm going to step forward. Now, that was forward flexion of the spine. I want to take a counter position to the spine. So let's do the back spine standing extension. It's a back bend. Careful carpal tunnel with the wrist here. You're going to bring the hand below the butt with straight wrist. And then I'm going to bend my knees, bringing the hips, pelvis, thighs forward. Roll the shoulders back, elbows toward each other. TIA stroke. Head remains here. For the rest of us, we're going to drop the head back if you want to, like so. You don't have to, but I love it. And it just feels so good to take a counter position. You can also do this with straight knees. Don't worry if your belly pooches, nobody cares. And then inhale, lift the head. Exhale, come back to center. And let's take a nice couple of big shoulder rolls. Now I'm going to teach you a series of stretches that I do for the upper body with my clients. It turns out it's going to be great stuff for the deltoid muscles, for your glenohumeral joint as well. So I'm going to turn the palms down. And I'm going to do this dynamically, which means I'm going to move with it, okay? I'm not going to hold passively yet. But you notice here how the elbows are not straight, right? And how I'm keeping distance between my earlobes and the tops of my shoulders. One more, and then I'm going to hold. So you hold the arms right here, depress the shoulder girdle. And just to make sure your neck is handling this all right, you can slowly turn the head from side to side. Although turning the head, for those of you with vertigo, may not be the greatest of ideas. So you can just keep the head center. And then we slowly lower down. And I'm going to borrow some like partial postures from yoga. So I'm going to bring the arm across and I'm going to take, so it's left arm, right arm. So I'm going to bring that right elbow above the left. I'm going to pull across the body. Do not turn the torso. Then I depress, push down that left shoulder. And just hold here to stretch that out. So it's a beautiful stretch to what? Your deltoid muscles, right? You have 3 heads to that muscle. We're stretching them. We're also getting into the rotator cuff muscles. And then I'm going to go in a bit of a diagonal here for you. I'm going to move into the arms of the eagle, Garudasana. Now inhale, I lift up a little higher. Exhale, I want you to lower your elbows all the way down to your chest. I can't do it because the microphone is right there, but you get the idea. So what's happening back up in your upper back area is phenomenal here with the stretches of these muscles, particularly the rhomboids between the scapulae, your shoulder blades. Now we hold here as we inhale. Maybe we lift a little higher, wrists come a little further away from the face. Then on the exhale, when I release the bottom arm, I'm going to bring my fingertips of my left hand on top of the right shoulder, right hand underneath that left elbow. Lift up and pull across. And you're going to get that whole posterior side of the rear side of the deltoid muscle. You just breathe into it. And then you're going to bring the arm out, right? What are we doing? Horizontal abduction. Then we're going to bend the elbow, bring it in behind. Right hand grabs the left wrist, pull it over. Hello, hello. We want to depress the shoulder girdle, and we're going to drop that right ear in the direction of the right shoulder. You don't want your head hanging down. We're not trying to touch each other. In fact, I prefer you drop that right shoulder. Your left cheek is pointing up toward the ceiling. And then we can slowly release the arms, turn the head down for the moment to bring the head back up to neutral. Let's take it to the other side. So dynamic first. And if you're super stiff in the morning, let's say, all right, and some people like to stretch out in the morning, I say do your stretches dynamically for a bit and then go for the passive hold, the static stretch, I should say. Go for the static stretch, which is this. We don't want this, and especially for rotator cuff pinch nerve and medicated or not for hypertension. We want this. And breathe. Double check. Turning the head from side to side. Good. And we're going to lower down. Now let's take this one across, right arm, hook left elbow above the right if you can. We pull across. So now this was the shoulder for me that was injured in that accident, right? When the machine collapsed. And we're going to deep press that shoulder back and down. And boy, do I feel this. But it's a nice thing that I'm feeling. I'm feeling a really lovely stretch. Now going here on the diagonal for you to show you, we're going to wrap around. Now look, if you don't make it, you can bring your hands, the back of the hands to touch each other, all right? You can also use that yoga strap to hold on to. So the bottom elbow lifts the top elbow higher. Wrist comes further away from the face. Ooh, this is a big stretch for me. And then I'm going to inhale up, exhale down. So what I'm encouraging here is that be gliding the movement of the scapulae, your shoulder blades. This is very, very challenging for males, this particular movement, because a lot of times that scapula is just glued. It just won't move. So inhale a little higher maybe, and then exhale, release the bottom. Right fingertips to the top of the left shoulder with that right elbow pointing up. Left fingertips underneath that right elbow. We lift up and draw it over. Big stretch, that posterior side going on. And then to get to the anterior, the front of it, out to the side, shoulder abduction horizontally. And then we bring the right hand behind us. Left hand grabs the right wrist, push the shoulders down. Hello, hello. Just want to make sure. And then we bring the ear over the opposite shoulder. Now notice this side wants to go up on me. So I have to really be aware of that. Deep pressing down. Right cheek points up toward the ceiling. And are you breathing? Breath in and out. And then I'm going to release the arms and then slowly lower the head down. And then bring the head back up to center into some nice big shoulder rolls. Great. Now, I want you to grab that. I just want to make sure I'm not getting ahead of myself here. Yes. Okay. So I want you to grab that Pilates ring. And you're going to hold that Pilates ring at 3 and 9 o'clock. Hello. And all we're going to do with this is steer the wheel. That's what I'm calling it. Steer the wheel. So you're steering to 6 and 12 o'clock. Now watch this. You can turn even more if you want. For some people, this might be a little too much on the shoulder joint. Then don't do that part of it. All right, just go to 6 and 9. 6 and 12, pardon me. 6 and 12. So let's give it to you here so you can see what's going on with the arms. So what I like to do is 1, 1, 2, 2. Got it? And you take it to 10 of each. And let's lower this down. I hope this is coming across okay. Amy?
Yep.
All right. I want to go back to my basketball hoop. I like to call it, even though it would be out here, but bringing it up and just double check again that neck. Now, I want you to, because we call it shoulder girdle and pectoral girdle, right? So we're going to bring the arms out, turn the thumbs down, inhale, exhale. We're going to open the chest now. So draw the palms together. But for some people, because they're so restricted here through the pectoral muscle and those front deltoid, the anterior deltoid muscles are really super tight. I'm going to show you how to use the yoga strap to help you with that. Because a lot of times people will do this. You're going to stay? Yeah. They'll do this. Watch. If they can't come together with scapular retraction, shoulder blades toward each other, and palms together, I really see a lot of this. Splitting the hands apart. The wrists are not touching. The palms don't touch. They're rounding the elbow. Look at what I'm doing. It's great. I'm going far back. No, the posture is all wrong and you're all closed in here. So keep it simple. Keep it much kinder to yourselves. You take your yoga strap. You hold the strap taut. You bring your hands a bit wider than your hips. And all you need to do is draw the arms straight back and hold. You will still get a lovely opening across the front of that chest, as well as with those anterior deltoid muscles and the lengthening of the arm muscles as well. And you're going to get some scapular retraction. And then you can relax it. Now, I want to continue with this strap, and I'm going to give you a little routine, folks. So I'm going to hold my strap. Now, like I said earlier, my strap is 10 feet long, so I doubled it up for this. I'm going to hold the strap taut. I don't want it slack. And none of this, watch my hands, none of this wrist extension stuff. A lot of people do it when they hold the strap. I want a straight wrist. What I'm doing is I have my hands in the same line as my shoulder joints, okay? I'm going to bring the arms up to shoulder height, pause, and slowly lower down. And I take them up, and I'm just going to do it 5 times, but you're going to see something else I will do with it as well. I'm going to pause here and lower. 2 more like this. So, of course, we're going into shoulder flexion, aren't we? And we do 1 more. Hold. And now, I'm going to lift the arms up. Be careful. Medicated or not for hypertension. Those of you with pinched nerve, rotator cuff muscle issues. Going all the way up. This is shoulder flexion. And again. Yep, you got it, Amy. 2 more. I love it when Amy's in the background trying to keep up with what I'm saying. 1 more. Take it up. Okay. Now I'm going to take it all the way down. And here we go. All the way up. All the way down. Take your time. This is not about speed. I want you to just actually kind of revel in the slowness of it, in the simplicity of it. But the fact is, it's really getting into those joints. I'm going to go for 2 more like this with the full range of motion. And then I'm going to give you an alternative because some of you, I have a feeling, might be struggling with the shoulder flexion. So we're going to help you in just a moment. Now, I find that sometimes people will bring their arms like this. They'll bring their hands, let's say where I had it before, wider than the hips, and they're going to work like this. And they're going to call it shoulder flexion. However, folks, this is not shoulder flexion. This is abduction. Because you are actually going away from the midline of the body. So this is abduction. When the arms are right up near alongside your ears, that's the flexion. But if this is the best you can do it. Totally okay. Now we're going to bring it behind us and we're going to set it again, also taut. I'll show you from behind with, again, the hands, same line as the back of the shoulder joint, okay? From here, I'm going to go into extension. and release. Now, I'm going to tie in a little something here. Notice I didn't go all the way back to my buttocks. See my return? I'm actually not touching the buttocks when I return because I'm throwing in a little bit of, isometric contraction to the tricep muscle, the back of the upper arm, which assists the posterior deltoid, the back of the shoulder muscle, posterior deltoid. I'm going to do one more in extension of that glenohumeral joint. So let's have you come into now shoulder rolls again. Some nice big shoulder rolls. Now notice, not elbow pumps. Lift up. Lift the shoulder girdle, your pec girdle toward your earlobes and take those big shoulder rolls. And now I'm going to take you through one more round of those upper body stretches. We're emphasizing the deltoid area, but also, of course, the pectoral. We're going to come here. Now I'm going to hold statically. Again, I'm going to turn from side to side. Now I want you to pay attention because for me, each time we've done this, I can turn my head a little bit more because I have restrictions in my neck and I could feel it opening up each time. And then let's lower. Again, take it across, shoulder back and down, depress it. Don't let it pop up. Also, don't do this. We want a straight elbow. And then we're going to move into Garuda. Inhale up, and I'm going to hold on the exhale. Just keep breathing. Wrists came a little further. They come a little further away from the face, not here. Here, it makes a difference between those shoulder blades. And now let's come into this. And I'm going to throw in a bit of a different movement coming up here than what we've done before. And then I'm going to bring it out and behind, pull it over, depress. I'm going to take the head over the other way. Sorry about that. So I'm going to hold here. Now, watch this. Right fingers come above the left ears. Don't do this. Don't crank the head down, all right? Opposite arm comes out, the left. I'm coming into wrist extension. I'm pushing the heel of the hand down and out. Carpal tunnel, you straighten that wrist, okay? And I'm going to hold. Make sure your right shoulder is nowhere near your right earlobe. Now from here, I'm going to rotate. I'm going to bring my nose down toward my right armpit. And then I'm going to take my left cheek toward the ceiling. And I'm going to turn the nose down. Because these are the areas of the body that really have issues from a lot of computer work. One more. Inhale. Woo, I feel it. And exhale, hold. I'm going to release my left arm first, then the right arm. Notice the head is where it's at. I slowly lower the head, lift it back up, hold for a moment. Make sure you're not dizzy or anything like that because that can be a really intense stretch. And arms up. We have the other side to do again. And we're turning. Can play a little bit, you know, you can walk like an Egyptian, that song. Remember that, Amy?
Yeah.
And then slowly down. And that was such a fun video. And take it across. So it's going to be a pull and a deep press down. And are you breathing? So important. And we're going to cross the wrists. And yes, the breathing is so important to calm you down, to de-stress. Wrists come a little further away. And then we release fingertips to the top. And we're going to lift. Whew. Each and every time I do this, I feel it. And then we come to the other side, pull, anterior delt, this case. Oh my. And hold here. Now I'm going to release the left fingertips above the right ear and bring the right wrist in extension. Push down and out. We don't want any of this. We're not trying to jam the head over. The maximum is not always the best when it comes to mobility and flexibility. There's a lot of yoga instructors who are like, yeah, go deeper, deeper, deeper. Sometimes if you have to pay attention to your edge, you know. So we're doing the rotation, turning the nose down and in toward the left armpit, and then that right cheek toward the ceiling. I'm going to hold, release the right arm, release the left arm down, lower the head first, then bring the head to neutral. Let's take some big shoulder rolls. And now I'm going to stand with the feet together, and I call this the spine stabilizer. So I'm going to reach down through my left fingers right up against the left side of my body. I am not pushing my hip out, folks. And now right arm comes forward and up, right? We're in that spine flexion, pardon me, the shoulder flexion for sure. So I'm reaching down, reaching up simultaneously. Happens to be an excellent position to do for those of you with scoliosis. And then we're going to bring that arm forward and down with energized, right? And reaching down, forward and up. If it's here, abduction. If it's here, it's flexion of the shoulder. And are you breathing? And then we're going to lengthen to lower into some final shoulder rolls. And that's what we've got for you today, folks, here at Be Green with Amy.
Wow. That felt so good.
Good, good. I'm so glad.
Oh my goodness. I mean, on both sides.
Yeah.
So even if I didn't have a shoulder injury or problems with my shoulder, I think it's just a wonderfully relaxing stretch for everybody to do. Yeah. So thank you so much for that.
It feels like for me right now. Now, here's the thing, because remember I mentioned how I strength trained earlier today, right? These muscles. So, and really, honestly, I was like, I'm not going to stretch out. I want to enjoy what I'm teaching today. And it just, what happens is we have the blood flow to the tissue, right? So it's carrying the oxygen, it's carrying the nutrients, it's carrying the water. So your joints just going, oh, thank you so much. Bring it on. It's just, my shoulders feel just very light now.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like, I can't ask for anything better.
I'm telling you. And Annette said, thanks, Angela.
That felt good. Yay, Annette. Thank you, darling. That's great. I'm glad it did. That's the point. But you see how simple it is, right? It's really very simple. Once you understand the actions of a muscle and the movements of a joint, the work can be very simple. When I do my workouts are considered basic workouts. When they're not basic is because that's when I'm adding heavier weight, right? That's really all it is, because when I do the work, I respect the actions of the muscle and the movements of the corresponding affected joints. Once you understand that, pretty much you won't get injured unless you sleep like this or you have a machine break on your shoulder. But you see what I'm saying?
Oh,
see
yeah.
what I'm saying, right? So that's what I want to impress upon people. Keep it simple. You don't have to complicate your workouts. But you do have to be careful what you pick and choose on YouTube. There's a lot of great stuff on YouTube. There is no doubt, a lot of great stuff on YouTube. But you must be very careful if you have chronic health concerns, you've got to be a little bit more discerning about what you're picking and you're choosing. The
Yeah.
other thing you need to be concerned about is, I'm going to tell you a story, a real quick story, if I might, Amy.
Mhm.
I was having a job interview recently, and I had, it's for a senior center in a local city to where I live. And I'm very specific about what I'm looking for. I'm looking for either strength training or yoga for seniors, or massage therapy. Okay. Geriatric massage therapy. I'm very specific on my resume and when I write to somebody and all that stuff. So I got brought in, and she was so sweet and looked at me and said, "We're looking for an aerobics teacher." And I said, "Yeah, that's not me." But we got to talking because she had a business partner with her. We got to talking, and after we spoke for a while, she said, "Well, we really want aerobics." And he said, "Wait a minute." He said to me, "Pitch the idea to me." And I did for 20 minutes.
Mm.
And at the end, they both said, "We're going to bring you in for strength training for seniors." Because what I said to them was, "Your program isn't balanced." I said, "Please don't be offended by this." I said, "But you are targeting seniors, and you are offering nothing but 1 and 2 pound weights and Zumba classes. They're all great. They get people up. They get people dancing. But we're doing this for bone strength in those classes. 0 for bone strength." And I pitched the whole thing. I said, "They have a phenomenal gym in this facility." I said, "I can teach a whole class of group personal training in there, in that, and teach them the equipment. And you don't have to worry about your rate of attrition because they won't fall out. What happens is they create community. They wind up going to the gym together. I teach them how to spot each other." I said, "Or also personal training." So he said, "We're going to talk to you about both." I said, "Then your program is going to be well-rounded."
Exactly.
I said, "I'm not looking for it." Yeah, I'm not looking. And I said, "And as many reps as possible." That AMRAP for seniors is the total antithesis of strength training. It's not about that. I said, but it is about being cautious about their chronic health concerns and how we're going to get them to do this stuff safely. So that's what I want to impress upon the Green Warriors. When you're surfing around, and I know you want to dance and all that stuff, do it. I say do it. That's great. You got to do the cardio. But we have to let go of the days of the 80s when it's about, oh, you have to do a lot of cardio to lose the body fat. No, no, no. Old science. And if you're going to classes that are teaching you that stuff, it's outdated. You're not current with the science. You gotta focus on strength. We already know that strength training is fantastic for the cardiorespiratory systems as well.
And muscle burns fat, right?
That's right, baby.
So if you build up this muscle, like Angela is showing us with all these classes, while you're sleeping,
that's right,
burning fat. Now that's a very nice.
It's really more about what happens is when you are, it's not so much when I'm sleeping and I'm burning more fat, but you are burning more calories because of the muscle on your body. If you are looking to have more muscle than body fat, just standing at your kitchen sink, washing some dishes, you will be burning more calories to do it because, like Amy said, the muscle burns more fat. And adds up with the calories. So I hope that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, it certainly does. And I'm glad that you brought up this senior place, because there are so many, and you have said this so many times on the broadcast about how important it is. Well, like you said, the strength, but also you've talked about flexibility. You've talked about the balance. And even Annette had commented earlier, if I try to stretch out too much, I tip over.
Well, okay. So Annette, I like the LOL. Sometimes it can happen because what you're doing is you're kind of readjusting the transition of your body weight. And sometimes this may sound absolutely out of my mind. This is my experience of watching people and observing myself. Okay. When you like a little bit go to fall out of something, you're learning something there, because that's actually the direction the body needs to go for the movement. So once you learn that you follow that movement, you're going to get balance in there. It's just that as you're experimenting, it might even be new. And especially if you're super tight, right? So Annette, if you are super tight, and I'm noticing the word stretch out too much. I don't want you to stretch out too much. Now, I don't know if that means you're holding the stretch for too long of a time, or you're trying to make it longer or wider than your body is capable of doing. If you are a super tight person, don't go for the holding stretches. Work on the dynamic approach to the movement. And what will happen is you will little by little be able to move into a passive hold. Little by little. And when you are that tight, you must have patience with yourself. You have to allow for it. And Amy, you know me, I can be very flexible, right? However,
you are super flexible.
Yeah, but wait, there are days that I'll get up and I'll be like, yo, man. And so, the cat cow that I like to do standing, well, I'll play with that. I'll be like, oh, Lord, I got to go small right now. I'll keep it small. Maybe I'll stay up higher. Maybe I'll start to go lower as it starts to open up. Maybe I could go deeper. Maybe oh, no, I don't like here. Oh, this feels, you see what I'm saying, Amy? That you can just experiment. You can experiment with speed. You can slow it down. You can make it a little faster if it's just too much. So you can move through it faster and faster. And then you can slow it down. And then maybe you can hold and really get into the movement, right? So that's why I'm a little concerned with Annette when you mean by too much. I just want to give you a couple of ideas. This is actually across the board for males. Oh my goodness. They're just so tight, so tight. So when I have the males work this way, they love it. They love it because it slowly opens up the tissue. You think the first thing you want to do in the morning is get up and hit and immediately stretch? I don't know. I have a video on my YouTube channel, which is move and stretch before you get out of bed. I do a bunch of stretches in the bed because then I want to stand up and go, yeah, okay, I feel pretty good. All right. Instead of putting your foot down, you have plantar fasciitis, you scream when you touch that foot, right? Instead, in your bed, you can do point flex of your ankles, that kind of thing. And you can turn the bed into a stretching surface. However, it'll definitely be different than when it feels like on the floor, because one is hard and one has got a little give.
Yeah, and some people can't get onto the floor. And if they do, maybe they have trouble getting up. So this is a wonderful way that you're suggesting of being in a horizontal position without having to worry about getting down on the floor and getting up on the floor.
Exactly.
Achieving these kinds of stretches. And
if you want me to, Amy, I'll send you the link to that particular video on my channel, only because I'm, you know who inspired me to create that video? Dr. Akil Taher.
Oh, I've had him on the show.
I know you have. And he asked me one time, and he said, would you do something for people before they get out of bed? And I'm like, okay.
I love it.
You know what I did? I purchased an air bed. I thought, I'm going to do it on camera on an air bed. Forget about it. That air bed made so many noises. And obviously they sounded like everything was a fart. And I just thought, yeah, this is not going to work, folks. So I tried. I tried. I use the air mattress for something else now. I tried, but it was funny. I wanted to try to do it on the bed, but not happening.
Yeah. So JJ was commenting earlier that she's noticing clicking.
After
She said, after I turned 47, so she's got an exact time in timeline in her life that she
well, yeah, that could be with hormonal changes too, that the clicking
Mm.
starts occurring. Because I know in my around that same age, I went way with lots of hormonal changes.
Yeah.
And by 50, that was it for me with menopause. All
Uh-huh.
right. So, JJ, you got to look at some positioning, because I know you with the computer, you need to make sure that you are ergonomically correct with your wrist joint for your keyboard. If you're using a keyboard, you want to make sure that you're not here with the head. You also want to make sure you're not here with the head, right? Are you rounded with the shoulders? All this kind of stuff can contribute to it, but do not underestimate hormonal changes.
Wow. Yeah. It's so important to have the correct position, and when you, especially if you're at the computer, and I often will catch myself, you know.
Yeah,
Like,
I get involved. You're involved in it. You're checking
yeah.
the, whatever you got to. It's like, I got to redo that. Whatever. I mean, this stuff goes on all the time with it. But the computer typing issue is really, really kind of profound in this country.
Yeah. So Annette wanted to clarify that when she does things like Warrior 3, that I guess she loses, or tree pose with arms up. Yeah.
Sure. And well, that's it. Well, balance pose. And here's the thing. Be willing to fall out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's interesting. I'm going to show you something. I purchased a knee pad, elbow cushion, but I use this also to help my balance, because what's happened with my real left foot, you see it as the right, is my bone is collapsing down. And it's the exact same issue my mother has. Now,
Oh.
there's just so much with DNA that I buy. I buy very little of DNA,
Yeah.
but the form of the body, I do buy. And that's why I keep looking at my mother's foot. And my mother has a drop foot for I don't know how many years. Okay. So what'll help me, Annette, is when I'm barefooted, I will use this pad. It's very thin. Okay. It's pretty thin, but it's just enough of a lift so that when I go to work on my tree, okay, I have my foot half on and half off, so that I can then start to work on the other side, because the natural tendency of this foot now is to collapse here. All right. Because the bone is pulling me down. But with the foot half on and half off, that little mat, or just a little bit of a lift might help you if you find that you fall in. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that was very interesting. And of course, you don't have to pick your foot up as high, right?
No, you can
just maybe start with your toe on the floor.
I'm going to show you something that
I do. And then gradually, as you get better with your balance, take your foot off the floor, maybe. And modify it like that.
Absolutely. And I also show people this. So I'll have clients who, because of their balance, just getting that foot up onto the block is a big deal, is just like a big deal. And then turn it like this, and that's the best that they can do.
Oh.
And though the heel is into the inner leg, the inner shin, so to speak. And because I'm up on a block, that might be the best. And if they're here, I'll be like, lift it. Just lift it. Lift it up and down. Lift it up and down. Because every time you lift it, you're balancing. So it's just different little techniques.
That's a really great modification. I love that.
That's just little things. And I look at that stuff from the perspective, Amy, of you got to leave people with feeling good about their efforts.
Yeah.
I can't leave someone with just constantly falling out. All right, well, let's move on to the other side. I need them to have some sense of ownership and some sense of confidence about what they just did. right?
Yeah.
So if this is the best that can be done, I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it because he's got to use his muscles to do this, and he's being aware and conscious. That is present in the moment of what you're doing. That's the core of yoga. It's not how the ultimate appearance of a posture. It's not about Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah.
It's about what your intention is, what you're putting into it.
And that's why they call it practice, right? Because
call it a practice. And that's why it's different on a daily basis. But it's the one modality that you can grace yourself. You know, you could just say it's very self-forgiving. And that's why I go back to it as often as I possibly can, because it's different and I learn lessons about myself. And yeah, there are sometimes, oh, Annette, when I fall out of a balanced pose, I'll be like, yo, man, whoa, man. And then I laugh because it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right? It's just so ridiculous to be so angry at oneself. And then you try it again, whatever, you know, and just find a little humor and joy about all this stuff too, because really it can be a spectacular journey if you get off your own back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. And one, like you said, one day you'll be doing better, and then the next day maybe not so much, and every day is different. And I just keep thinking that the world is rotating, and we've got gravity, we've got all these different forces, and some people maybe have some medications that they're on. So there's a lot of things going on that that could be interfering with what they're doing. Yeah.
I want to branch off of something you just said regarding medications, right? Okay, or somebody has vestibular challenges, which is real serious challenges with their balance. Never work out by yourself, ever. Always have a companion, always right near you, because I want you to do your work. Okay, I want you to be able to do the work and not have an excuse to get out of the work. But you need to have an agreement with somebody that they're going to be in that room right there near you. All right.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, this has just been so wonderful. I could just chat with you all day.
I know, we have a lot of fun.
Yeah, we really do. And in a moment, I want to give you a chance to tell everybody about what you do, although you do have a lot of fans that already know that. But what I wanted to do, we have had Gustavo Toloso had come on our show a little while back, and he had offered to give a free copy to one of our Green Warriors that had entered, and we did have them entered for that. And that was one of the things that on my list that I need to do is actually do the drawing. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I couldn't make it work the last time, but now I got it to work. So that's a good thing. So this is Live Your Healthiest Life, One Bite at a Time, One Meal at a Time. Wow. You are going to get some fabulous recipes. So if you don't win today, that's okay. You can get the book, and I've already made a few recipes from it. It's so great.
Is that the one co-authored by Shada?
Yes, it is. It is co-authored by Shada Salamani, who's been on the show as well, and so they made just a fantastic team of wonderful chefs, and they have such great recipes that they created. So let's see who won. I'm so excited to see who won the copy of this book. And it is going to be Christine B. Congratulations, Christine. I'm going to reach out to you and get your information so that this way we can actually get the copy of the book out to you, because I don't know if it's going to be Shada or Gustavo, but one of them, I'm going to give them that information and they'll get that book out to you. And it's going to be so great.
Yay for Christine B.
Congratulations. I always love to these book giveaways. They're just so much fun. And Annette said thank you so much, because you really did give her a lot of great information, and I'm sure you helped a lot of other people too.
Thank you
with all that you shared. So yeah, so that's just been great. And Green Warrior, please click like to show your appreciation for what Angela shared with us today. And now I want to give Angela the opportunity to tell us about what she does and how we can find her on social media.
Oh, thank you, Amy. I really appreciate this. Well, several different ways. You can come to my YouTube channel to get more of how I work and all different types of workouts there. Standing classes on the floor, yoga. There's chair yoga. There's chair exercise. So if you are somebody who must be in a chair for health reasons or for work, it's all there for you. Said yes, Amy brought it up there for Boomer and Beyond Wellness. That's also my website, boomerandbeyondwellness.com. You can find me on Facebook, which is probably my bigger presence, and on Instagram and on LinkedIn. And also, if you are interested in joining any type of whole food plant-based platforms, I am a strength training video and yoga video provider to Feel Fabulous Over 40, and also a strength training video provider for Timmery Hagenberger's The Foodie Bar Way of Life. And you can also reach me directly by the contact form on my website. And Amy, if you're the Green Warriors would like to subscribe to my free monthly newsletter, you can do that by going to the website and just simply go to the subscribe tab, and you will receive a thank you video that I created exclusively for newsletter subscribers. So that's it. I want to thank you for that opportunity to share my information, Amy.
Oh, that's so wonderful. You just put in so much knowledge and expertise and passion into everything that you do. And people, I don't know if people really know how much work that you do in the background, and everything just comes out so smooth and flawless, but yet you really have a lot to share. And I want to thank you for sharing your knowledge and guiding us through these. I mean, they're really essential shoulder mobility exercises, because I mean, with your expertise, you're just helping so many people, and it'll help all of us like move with ease and confidence.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what is your final take home message for our Green Warriors?
Well, don't give up, right? If you have restrictions in these areas, just really approach the work in baby steps. Just a little bit at a time, but don't not try. Okay? Just don't not try. Try a little bit if you're in pain, etc., and speak up. Speak up. Let people know. Maybe you're harboring it. Maybe you're ashamed because you have less range of motion and you're concerned about what that means about the aging process and all that. You know, if you can, forget all that crap. And if you need a little bit of a booster, you know, where you need somebody to ask some questions to, I'm happy to address those concerns. You can contact me, because I'll tell you, don't take no crap from anybody, and don't let anybody tell you because you're getting older, well, this is what happens. That's a bunch of crap. So, but you need to have somebody back you up and kind of give you some gentle but definite encouragement. So don't give up.
I love it. I love it. Oh, so empowering and encouraging. Green Warrior, tell us, what are you going to remember from today? One of my takeaways is I just love how Angela talked about the tree pose, and how, no matter where you are on your fitness journey, that there's ways to modify it, and that you can learn ways to do that to help with balance, which is an essential part of it. And I just had lots of takeaways as far as the shoulder goes, and especially with the posture in your chair. And of course, my big takeaway was my sleeping on my side, which I am going to modify that first thing I do with this evening. And I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah. So a lot of takeaways for me. And I also wanted to thank Jess Task Boys. She does the promos, she does the countdown, she gets it out there on social medias to help everybody find out about these wonderful broadcasts. And Jess Task Boys, tell us, and I'm so excited because this is going to be a really good one. Who is coming up next?
Looking for a healthier snack option that doesn't sacrifice crunch or flavor? Amy's hubby Rick will show us how to make whole food, plant-based, SOS-free potato chips and tortilla chips. Perfect for satisfying those snack cravings while staying true to a plant-based lifestyle. Join us on Wednesday, March 19th, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, on Be Green with Amy Live.
Oh my gosh, these chips. Not just nacho chips, but potato chips.
Oh,
SOS-free, okay? And so that means no sugar, oil, or salt. And whenever we have potlucks, we put them out with the appetizers, and people are just crunching away.
Oh, sounds
so good. So I'm really excited for him to share this with you guys, because I never thought I would eat another potato chip.
Yeah, right. I understand. No, I find whenever Rick is on, and just, of course, the demeanor between the dynamic, I should say, between the two of you, but the whole thing is so loving, but also it's hilarious. I'm sorry, he's hilarious. I kind of feel like that's a brother from another mother.
Yeah.
She's the sister from another sister. He could be the brother from another mother, because he's just got enough feistiness in him that I can relate to.
Yeah, he's got the feistiness, but then he's got the big heart. So it just makes a really, and I often tell people that between the two of us, we make one pretty fantastic person.
You do. You make a fantastic person.
We balance each other out. Yeah. Well, I also, most of all, want to thank you, Green Warrior, for joining us today, because your engagement and your support, they really make these discussions meaningful and impactful. And I hope you're feeling inspired today to take a closer look at your movement choices.
Yes.
And make some positive changes for your health and well-being, because, well, I always talk about every bite we take, but also all the movement that we make. It's just an incredible opportunity to nourish our bodies, because even with movement, like Angela said, you're nourishing, you're bringing the nutrients around and the oxygen around. And so being like Angela, become the healthiest version of yourself. And this is just, I hope that you really enjoyed that and share it with others. And please stay tuned for more empowering content, and please subscribe to my channel. Check out Angela's social media and her website as well. And just share our message with others that you think that can benefit from this, because together as Green Warriors, we can really make a meaningful difference in the world. And as a special thank you to all of you, I am offering you 5 free recipes. So all you have to do is go to my website, begreenwithamy.com/join, and I will send them to you. And I wanted to ask you if you all would like to join me. But first, I have to wait. Even if you have a little shoulder mobility, let's try to take your right hand and grab your left shoulder, and take your left hand and grab your right shoulder and squeeze if you can reach. And if not, you have to watch this quite a few times and do this, and eventually you will be able to reach.
That's right.
Because that's a hug from me to you, and from me to you, Angela. And if you would like to join me and Angela with my tagline, we're going to say together, are you ready, Angela?
I'm always ready, Amy.
So remember, till I see you all again, remember, be strong. Oh, let's see if I can get my other arm up.
Careful.
That's about it for now. But
You got it. You got it.
Be strong, be well, and be green.
Green, Amy. We love green. Thank you.
Thank you, Green Warrior. Thank you so much, Angela. And we look forward to seeing all of you again really, really soon. Take care, Green Warriors. Bye-bye.
Now you can get 5 free whole food plant-based SOS-free recipes from Be Green with Amy. Just click on the link in the show notes and Amy will send you 5 free recipes, motivational quotes, and more so you can be strong, be well, and be green.